Hi viewers, this is Arushi Sharma and you're watching Off-Screen Masala powered by thescoopbeats.com. We have with us a multifaceted personality. He's an actor, he's a musician, the one and only Alexx O'Nell. Welcome, Alexx.
Arushi, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. It's lovely to be here. I did an interview with you guys, the Scoop Beats, just a few days ago, and I was very impressed with the questions, and that's one of the reasons why I was so happy to join you guys once again in conversation. So hello to all your viewers. It's truly my privilege to be here. Thank you, Arushi.
So, Alexx, we would like to ask you, what drew you towards acting?
Well, it's a very fundamental question, and I appreciate you asking so that we can kind of start all the way from the beginning. When I was a kid, just like all kids, we try to carve out our identity, and the answer really, in short, for me is community. When we're younger, when we're kids, we're trying to carve out a place for ourselves and an identity for ourselves. And I first started when I was around 12 or 13. That's when I did my first play. And the community that I found in theater, which is where I began my acting career, was really lovely. I still have many of those friends till today. I think that theater teaches you many things. One of the most important is to rely on others, to trust others, because when you're up on stage and something goes wrong, you have no choice but to carry on and support your other actors and try to do the best that you can to salvage the play that you may be destroying up on stage. But as a kid, it was it was a lovely place to be, being able to live someone else's life. Teenage years are always difficult, but being able to live somebody else's life and also to be part of something was a great feeling. And obviously, the best place for actors to learn how to act is theater. So I've drawn on that experience, even though I wasn't. It wasn't until I was maybe 20 something before I actually set foot in front of a real film camera for my first feature film. Even till now, I still draw on that experience of being a stage actor, and giving respect to your fellow actors, being there to give cues, making sure to do what actors can do for each other to help augment the other actor's performance. There's a lot that goes into being an actor, and I think that the mark of professionalism is doing what you can to make the other actor, your scene partner, comfortable and able to act to the best of their ability. And theater taught me that. So it all kind of began when I was a teenager. What drew me in was the community, and the experience that I gained from that is still with me till today.
So, Alexx, was your family supportive of your decision to take up acting?
Yeah, so my mother actually, so my father passed away when I was about 6 years old. And my mother raised my brother, my sister, myself all on her own. And I think that she was happy to see that I found a place where I kind of fit in. And she came to every play that I ever performed in. She came and watched me sing and play guitar every time that I was on stage doing that as well. She also came to every one of my soccer games. So, big shout out to all the moms out there that are so supportive of their kids. But I think for me, each one of us, my brother, my sister, and myself, found our own identities and kind of went in completely different directions. And yeah, my mom was incredibly supportive and still is incredibly supportive. She has come to visit me in India many times and really enjoys watching some of the final edits of the film when I'm doing my dubbing. She just, I think she's really proud of the fact that I've done something that no one else in our family has done, and really been able to find my own niche in that sense.
Lucky of you, Alexx. My next question for you is, how did you venture into the music industry?
Well, music for me was something that I kind of fell in love with at the same time as acting. As a teenager, I think I picked up an acoustic guitar like all teenage boys do, to impress a girl, and I just stuck with it. And I started writing music from around the time that I began teaching myself to play guitar. I taught myself to play guitar using magazines. I think the same kind of process that kids would do today, using the internet, looking up how to play their favorite songs by their favorite bands. So whether it was U2 or Nirvana or Pearl Jam, these were some of my favorite bands, and luckily their music was quite simple, only 3 or 4 or 5 chords per song. So I would buy the magazine that had my favorite band on the cover, and I would teach myself to play guitar that way. And I still think that that's, for anyone out there that wants to learn how to play guitar, I still think that's the best way to learn, because the joy that comes from playing the tune and singing the song that you are so much in love with is its own reward. And because you enjoy doing that, you do it more often. And practice stops really being practice for the sake of practice. It's just enjoyment for the sake of playing your favorite songs. So that's what drew me into music. That was kind of the beginning. Was playing the songs that I fell in love with so much on the radio for myself, and then coming up with my own music as well.
Any famous musicians that you admire?
You mean now or back then when I was learning?
Back then.
Back then, like I said, I would buy magazines that had Kurt Cobain on the cover, and it's, to be honest, it's been quite a long time since I've listened to a Nirvana song, but that was like my teen angst phase when I was learning how to play guitar. So Nirvana, Pearl Jam, REM, Counting Crows. Counting Crows, I think, is a band that even till today really sticks with me, because my music is similar to the kind of music that Adam Duritz sings and Counting Crows writes, because it's very meandering, it's romantic, it's pensive, it's thoughtful. It can be kind of long. I don't really write songs that are condensed and quick and fast. They tend to meander a bit. So I've had songs that run into like 3.5, 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, and Counting Crows, I think, was a band that kind of gave me the license to do that. If you listen to most pop hits, they're always done in like 3 minutes. But Counting Crows was a band that kind of showed me that I could write it. I could give a song the amount of time that it needed. And August and Everything After is one of the greatest albums, in my opinion, of all time. But obviously, U2 and nowadays, now that I'm exposed to more music around the world, Atif Aslam is one of my favorites. Arjit Singh, who I had the pleasure of having sing on one of my on my debut song, Still on My Mind, but also Ed Sheeran and Lana Del Rey, Adele. There are so many incredible musicians these days that I think if I was starting all over again, those would be the guys whose music I would be teaching myself to be a musician with.
Would you like to sing for us?
Sure. What would you like me to sing for you?
Anything that you're very close to or you feel like singing,
पहले नज़र में कैसे जादू कर दिया तेरा बनता है मेरा जिया जाने क्या होगा क्या पता इस पल को मिलके आज जी ले जरा मैं हूँ यहाँ तू है यहाँ मेरी बाहों में अभी जा ओ जाने जा दोनों जा मेरी बाहों में भूल जा ओ जाने जा दोनों जा मेरे बाहों में भूल जा This is my latest single, 20 Days. 20 days she will have flown across the nation. Keep in mind it's not for me. 300 days of a dreadful situation. What good on earth could this have been? But when she comes, she lights the depths of my heart with her eyes. When she comes, what to say? Should I give her my heart? Would she just break it and make me bleed? If I give her my love, would she take it? Well, I can't fall apart, 'cause she would just hate it and see through me. If I give it my all, wouldn't we make it? A year ago, you see, she left on a vacation to find her way in easy. In 20 days from now, we'll face this situation where she's home, not coming home for me. But when she comes, she light the depths of my heart with her eyes. When she comes, oh, what to say? Should I give her my heart? Would she just break it and make me bleed? If I give her my love, would she take it? Well, I can't fall apart, oh no, 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 'cause she would just hate it and see through me. If I give it my all, wouldn't we make it? I can't fall apart, I can't fall apart. When she comes, I can't fall apart, 'cause she would just hate it. I can't fall apart. When she comes, when she comes, when she. Should I give her my heart? Would she just break it, make me bleed? If I give her my love, would she take it? Well, I can't fall apart, oh no, 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 'cause she would just hate it and see through me. If I give it my all, would we make it? So that's my latest single. Please check out the music video on my YouTube channel at Alexx O'Nell Music. The first songs I fell in love with when I was in India for one of the first times, but I'll play you so just about a year ago, my debut song and music video released. And over the past year, I've just been overwhelmed with the amount of support that I've received and the amount of love that people have shown on YouTube and everywhere. So this is a little bit of Still on My Mind. Still on my mind, like an insolent child. I try to freeze us in time, pretend you're still mine, and I'll try till the moment I die to make amends for my crimes. There's not enough time. I don't wanna be a spotlight, I don't wanna follow you down. I don't wanna be the man, the reason for your frown. I don't wanna be a spotlight, I could never follow you down. And she said, you're all that I want, I can't live without you. You're all that I need, I can't live without you. You're all that I have, I can't live without you now. How do you live without me now? How do you live without me now? How do you live without me now? You live without me now. You live without me now. And I said, you're all that I want, I can't live without you. You're all that I need, I can't live without you. You're all that I have, I can't live without you now. How do you live without me now?
That was great, Alex. That was great. That was amazing. Thank you.
That's the short version.
Thank you. So I would like to ask you, how would you describe the music that you typically create?
I would say that it's thoughtful, pensive, reflective, romantic, passionate. Obviously, these are me giving myself compliments, so it's a little uncomfortable. But I would describe it as music that doesn't necessarily exist for any other reason but to kind of convey what I went through while writing it. So it's very autobiographical. This song, for example, is very much about a moment in my life when I was about to reunite, come face to face with someone that I cared very much for. And I wasn't sure if I should let her know how I feel or not. And I think it's something that a lot of people go through. You wonder if you should risk a friendship for something greater, or if you should just stay in safe territory and not. So yeah, my music is all about the experiences that I've had, and every single song is like a page of a diary that I don't write. I write music instead. So it's all very autobiographical. It's very honest. I've had people ask, can I write for their film? I can't do that because I can't take other people's experiences and write about it. I can only really write from my own experience. So yeah, that I think is kind of the definition of my music, my experiences, my hopes and dreams and desires and thoughts and fears. And all of my music comes from that. It comes from sitting like this, in a room, and really fixating on a particular moment and the emotions that come from it, and strumming guitar and singing and and slowly something takes shape. Now the lyrics take a lot longer, but usually I begin with the melody and then and take it from there.
What are the stark differences between the entertainment industries in the two nations, India and West?
Entertainment industry in India, it's no secret that that film dominates, and music is oftentimes considered to be an advertising component of film, so to speak. You know, you have the 3 or 4 songs, sometimes more, that feature in a film. They naturally have music videos that feature the actors of that film. They're released before the film as promotional material for the film. That's something I've always been a bit uncomfortable with, to be honest. Between you and me, Roohi, it's something that I feel almost as if music. And maybe this is changing, but I feel almost as if music is seen as a lesser of the two art forms, and to me that is disturbing, because I honestly believe that music is neither greater nor lesser, but exists in a completely different way. For example, you know, you can look at your favorite film, and generally, whatever my experience or your experience is, if we watch the same film, we both know what the story is. We both know generally what the emotions conveyed were. But if you and I listen to a song, it can mean completely different things for the two of us. I can listen to a song with all of my experience, and you can listen to it with yours, and you know, we can come out of it with completely different perceptions of what the song was about, the song means, and I think that music is something that we bring into our lives while we're doing other things, and it becomes a part of our life. And sometimes if you look back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and you listen to a song, in a moment, you're reminded of everything that was going on in your life at that moment. You've made it a part of that that chapter of your own story, and it then takes on all that meaning from your story. And so, you know, film is amazing, and music is amazing. They're just completely different things. And I feel like in India, unfortunately, music kind of takes a back seat to film, or it's considered to be a promotional tool of film. I'm happy to see independent music kind of resurging in India. I think it's very important that music exist independent of anything else, especially film. That's not to say that I don't appreciate the music that's in my films. Of course I do. But I think that there's really a space for independent music, and I would love to see it grow more and more. And obviously I'm saying that because I'm an independent musician. I don't place my music in films. I don't write for films. I'm not a music director. But I would say that's the difference between the entertainment industries, at least in this very, very specific question of film and music, and how the two kind of are related in the West and in the East.
So, Alex, what was your first project as an actor? Do you remember?
Of course I remember. I remember every single one of my projects. Every single one of them, just like my music. If I'm sitting and I turn on the TV and Mayor Charles comes up, instantly I remember what I was doing, me and Randeep and Goa hanging out on the beach, or you know, Joker comes on and I instantly remember Akshay Kumar and I, you know, between scenes playing volleyball with Sonakshi Sinha and all of us having a great time in Chandigarh. And it's very interesting because for me, films have 2 layers. Obviously, there's the film itself and the messages that it conveys, the entertainment that it gives, or the story, etc. And then there's the creation of the film, which is a very personal thing for me, which only I really know the story of. And so every single film is burned into my memory, because obviously each time we make a movie, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and so it's impossible to forget even the most difficult of of challenges in filmmaking. But yeah, my first film to shoot was a small comedy called Loins of Punjab Presents, and my first film to release was Cheeni Kum. So your viewers are going to have to think back. Oh wow, he was in Cheeni Kum. Yeah, that was in 2007. That was a long time ago, but I still remember it like it was yesterday.
I've seen actually Cheeni Kum. I remember you from that movie.
All right, good.
I
Glad.
remember. I'd like to ask you, were you happy with the response that you got for your role, from your first film?
For my first film, I didn't get much of a response because I was a newcomer, and Loins of Punjab and Cheeni Kum, both of these films, I was not a very significant character in either. I was comic relief in both, which is great. But more than anything, these films kind of signaled the transition from my work in theater to my work in film. So they're much more significant to me than they are to audiences with regards to my role. But what it did do is it kind of helped me to, in a rather low risk way, understand how the film industry worked in India, both independent film, which my first film was very much. Loins of Punjab Presents did have Shabana Azmi and other very well-known, Ayesha Darkar and other well-known actors, but it was quintessentially an indie film. And then Cheeni Kum was your quintessential blockbuster, Amitabh Bachchan, Tabu, big budget. R. Balki was the director. And so these two films kind of gave me a very, very quick introduction to how the industry works in both ends. And they were both Hindi English, which is great. So they're very easy to compare. But yeah, it was more for me than for the audience. I didn't give much to the audience from my performances. I mean, I'm proud of them. I obviously look back with fondness on the experience and the films. But really, my appreciation for my work really began to come when you look at things like Nach Baliye, where I was dancing, but it wasn't. I'm not a dancer, so that was very, very difficult for me. But I was overwhelmed with the positive appreciation for just trying and lasting as long as Sweta and I did. And then after that, Jhansi Ki Rani, which was another challenge, but a beautiful role, a very positive role in an otherwise historical period project. I've always been very careful to do them for a reason. And Jhansi Ki Rani, the reason was wonderful. You had this guy who was employed by the East India Company, but was in love with the Queen of Jhansi. So there was this push and pull, this tug from both worlds. So I loved that role. And from then on, you name it, Chittagong was an amazing experience with Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Rajkumar Rao. My first project with Rajkumar. Now we've done 3 together. And Urumi and Madrasapattinam and Mayor Charles and Joker and all of these. Whether the film did well or not. What I love is that the audiences have found the films they like. Even though Joker, not the Hollywood Joker, but the one that Akshay Kumar and I did back in, I think, 2012, kids love it. It didn't do well in the theaters, and critics hated it, but kids love it. Because for kids, they love seeing aliens run around, and they love seeing all the lights and all the action. So audiences have found the films of mine that they appreciate, and every day I open Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and I see appreciation for films that may be released 6, 7, 8 years ago, as well as Roohi or Aarya that are my more recent releases. And I think that's wonderful, and it's great to see OTT kind of giving films and series a second life and allowing it to be seen in territories where people previously weren't able to see them. So yeah, I mean, appreciation is wonderful, and it's what keeps me going. It's what gave me the confidence to launch my music career in India as well. If the audiences hadn't given that appreciation, if I hadn't felt that acceptance, I don't think I would have had the confidence to launch something so personal as my music in India. So yeah, the appreciation means a great deal to me.
How was your experience in the movie Roohi?
Roohi was a different experience for me. Roohi is my first horror comedy, and it was my first time working with Varun and Janvi, and my first time working with Madak Films, and it was lovely. I don't like horror films. I'm too much of a coward to appreciate horror films. I fixate on things, and I think this is what maybe helps me as a musician. Is I let something into my brain, and then I go over and over and over and over on it. And with music, I'm able to kind of come to terms with whatever thought that is or whatever experience that is by using that moment to convert it into music. And all musicians, from what I understand, is we're creating our favorite song. So you may encounter, a non-musician may encounter their favorite song on the radio or wherever else on the internet, and they may then want to play it in their head over and over again. Well, the same thing happens with musicians. That's how, at least, I create music. I play something, I like it, I play it again and again and again, and then I make a variation on that, and over time it becomes a full song. But horror films, that's a problem, because I get a negative image or I get a frightening moment and it gets into my brain and it doesn't leave for a long time. So I have to avoid horror films. But horror comedy is a genre that I think has opened up some of the jumps and frights of horror, but kind of diffusing it with comedy, so it's not as terrifying a storyline, and it's not as perhaps for me it's not as disturbing. So being part of that genre was lovely. Raj Kumar and I obviously have worked together before. Chittagong with Barry John, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Manoj Bajpayee, of course, and Raj Kumar was there as well. And then in between, we also did Bo's Dead or Alive, which was a lovely series for Alt Balaji. And then just now, Roohi marks our third collaboration. And so it was nice to work with Raj. It was nice to have a familiar face on the project. And it was also, a very interesting role. I joke about the fact that, the director ran away from me at the premiere, saying, "Don't kill me, Alex," because a lot of what we had shot didn't make it into the final edit, unfortunately. And there was a lot more for Tim to do in Roohi. But obviously, I respect the decision that Hardik made with regards to the way that he edited his film. I would have liked to have seen more of Tim. There are reasons why Tim is there, and unfortunately, a lot of those reasons got lost on the cutting room floor. But it was wonderful to be part of that film, especially because after a year out of cinemas, after a year away from the movie theater, the first face that people saw when they went back to the movies was Tim, which was my face. And it was nice to do my part to welcome people back to the cinema, even if it was only for a short time. But I think that, the release of Roohi, the fact that it ran in theaters, the fact that people got a moment's break from the pandemic, now, it's back to lockdown. But I think that people really appreciated the ability to go see a movie, even if it was only for a month in between, the first and the second wave. So, by all accounts, it was a wonderful project to be a part of. Professionally, personally, it was wonderful to spend time in Agra. I visited the Taj Mahal 3 times, and I said to myself, okay, now I can't keep going and visiting the Taj Mahal. I've seen it now for the 4th time. But yeah, wonderful experience through and through. I look forward to working with that entire team again very soon, I hope.
What is your dream role, Alex?
So many dream roles. By now I think I've done 40 films and series, so we can say 40 roles, which I've enjoyed living. One of my most recent releases, Aarya, which I hope that you've seen. It's on Disney Plus, Hotstar Disney Plus. I'm here in the Netherlands right now, but unfortunately it's not available here on Disney Plus. but it is available in the UK, Singapore, and the US on Disney Plus. But in India, Hotstar, Disney Plus. So Aarya combined two of my loves, and that is music and acting, and it allowed me to kind of explore both in the context of that story. For me, Aarya is a musical journey as much as it is anything else. You have this character Bob who memorizes and recites and lives his life by the Bhagwat Gita, and his music is very unique and beautiful. Vishal Khurana did an incredible job giving Bob a musical style that's all his own. I subsequently released a Bhagavad Gita song, which is my own way of putting these incredibly poignant shlokas to music. But that role was the first time in all of these years. And keep in mind that, I started acting and I started playing music kind of at the same time. And it took all this time for me to have a role that utilized my ability to play music. My experience as a singer-songwriter, because Bob is also a singer-songwriter. I would love to do more of that. I would love to do more music in film, and honest music in film. Like A Star Is Born, Ashiki 2, Rockstar. These are films, and Aarya is one as well. These are films in which the music is not filler. It's not background for a scene. It's not utilized for the hero to jump around and woo a girl. It's actually the soul of the story. Ashiki 2 is such a beautiful film. A Star Is Born is such a beautiful film. Rockstar is such a beautiful film because the music is honest. The music is so integral to the journey that if you were to make the film without the music, the film wouldn't exist. Whereas I think a lot of films these days are the opposite. If you take the music out of the film, you just have a slightly shorter film. But I want to be part of more projects where the music is such an integral part of the film that you can't imagine the film without it.
Did Bhagwat Gita have an impact on you?
Very, very much so. Sukha dukhe samay kritva lava lava jaya jayo tato yundai yujasva naivam papam vapsyasi attachetvam imam dharmyam Sangramam na karishasi tatasmadharmam kirtam cha hitva papam avapsyasi yaenam. So that's just a little bit of a Bhagavad Gita song. Check out the official music video on my YouTube channel, Alexx O'Nell Music. So those shlokas are incredibly, incredibly meaningful to me even now. It's had such an effect on me in two ways. One, the words have never left my mind. And two, the words remind me of the meaning. The meaning of this particular piece of the Bhagwat Gita is, obviously those who know the story know that it's set at Kushetra. You have Lord Krishna, who's disguised as the chariot driver of Arjun, having a conversation. Arjun is about to put down his bow and arrow and say, "I cannot fight my gurus, my family. I surrender. I give up." And Lord Krishna essentially says, look, there is no sin in defeat, but there's sin in surrender. Don't surrender, do your duty. And I was sitting right here in the same room that I'm in right now when Aarya released, and kind of this message or these shlokas were carried by the series into the homes of hundreds of thousands of people, and people were reading, because most people don't know the Sanskrit, so they were reading the subtitles and recognizing what was being said and sung. And to me, it appeared as if those shlokas were just as appropriate today in our current battle with COVID-19 as they were 1800 years ago when they were written. The idea is that, look, we're in a pretty frightening battle with this disease, and sometimes it looks like there isn't much hope. Sometimes it looks like, wearing a mask, you're still going to get sick. Staying at home, you're still going to be affected. It almost feels like it's hopeless, and you think, oh, you know what? I'm going to give up. I'm going to stop wearing a mask. I'm not going to socially distance. You know what? I'm going to get sick anyway. And what I took from these shlokas, 1800-year-old shlokas, that we incorporated into Aarya, obviously not knowing a pandemic was going to come, but it worked well obviously it worked critically in the plot of Aarya. But now I was thinking, okay, look at the way that these shlokas instruct us now. Look at Lord Krishna's advice to us now. No, you need to wear that mask. You need to socially distance. Even if you think that you're going to get sick, you still have to do it, because you've got to do your best. You have to try your hardest, because even if you do get sick, that's not failure. There's a lot of people that they're ashamed to say that they got COVID. You can't be ashamed if you've done your best and you still suffer defeat. Even in the greatest victories, there is defeat. Even in the greatest battles ever fought, there are casualties, and casualties are failure. However, what you cannot do is you cannot give up. You cannot surrender. That is sin. That's what Lord Krishna teaches us. To surrender, to give up, is sin. And those shlokas spoke to me then. They speak to me now, just like they've spoken to anyone that's read them over the past almost 2,000 years. And so, yeah, they had an effect on me. And whenever I go into a project, whenever I work on building a character, whether it's fictional or non-fictional, I do a great deal of research. I do a lot of introspection to find out what I have in common with that character. If it's fictional, I build a backstory. If it's nonfiction, I research the backstory. And for Bob, it was essential that I not just be able to recite the Bhagwat Gita, but that I truly embrace it and understand how it fit into his life. And so, yeah, when Aarya released, drawing upon the character of Bob, I recognized that Bob living in this moment would call back to that and say, yes, Lord Krishna teaches us for this specific moment, the moment we're living in right now, that surrender is a sin. Don't surrender. Don't give up. Do your best.
Since you worked in web series too, which platform do you think is better, movies or web series?
Well, now we have, we have films that are releasing on OTT, specifically Lakshmi, for example. Many films have decided to wait until theaters reopen, because there's a whole different economic consideration when you're making a film for theatrical release as opposed to for OTT. One thing I love, obviously I love films. I love the fact that there's a distinct beginning and there's a distinct end. It feels very complete and tangible when you have a very clear beginning and a clear end. You feel like, okay, that's done. Even if it's a chapter of a multi-part franchise, you still feel as if, okay, there's that moment encapsulated. Whereas with traditional Indian series like Jhansi Ki Rani or like Dhoond Legi Manzil Hame, which were two of my early series, they kind of go on forever. and so there's no real distinct beginning and end. That does give actors a lot of opportunity to perform, and it gives them continuity, which is nice. But I think finite series like Aarya, like Inside Edge, like Bo's Dead or Alive, they give actors more space to perform, but also having that distinct beginning and end, at least per season, where okay, my character is going to go through this, and this is how he or she is going to change. And that's very important. For a film, it's lovely to have a screenplay and to be able to chart out the journey of your character from, the opening credits to the end credits. For a series, in infinite series like Jasi Kirani, you start to find ways of making your character grow within what you know, because it's being written as it's being shot, so you don't necessarily know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So you need to be very in the now in terms of, okay, well, what does this scene say about my character? Is this a moment where he can grow? Is this a moment where we see him fail? Is this a moment where we see him succeed? That's infinite series. When it comes to finite series, the beauty of it is, just like with a film, you have the beginning and the end. You have the whole journey in front of you, and you can apply much more thought and consideration to how this character is going to go through this journey. What is he going to learn at each individual point? What does each scene tell the audience about this character? And just by virtue of the fact that there's so much more time in a series, writers, directors, and actors get to really explore these characters more than they would if it was a film. In a film, you have maybe enough time to explore 2-3 characters in depth, and then everyone else is kind of peripheral. Unfortunately, like in Roohi, there wasn't enough time to show all of what Tim did, even though we shot it, even though it was edited, even though if you had the 2.5-hour version of Roohi, you'd see, why is Tim there? If Roohi was a series, you would have all of it. Unfortunately, time constraints are what they are. And even in series, you have time constraints. There was much more of Bob and Aarya that we shot than was actually finally in the series. But there's more time. And I think that, a Ram Madhvani and a Sandeep Modi and, all of the folks that were involved in Aarya appreciated the fact that they got the opportunity to explore who is Bob, who is Saundarya, obviously who is Aarya, but, all of these other amazing characters that are portrayed by fantastic actors who maybe didn't get the first, second, or third, or fourth main roles in feature films up until Aarya, haven't been given the chance to show how incredibly well they can perform. So it's been a boon for actors, producers, directors, and writers to have amazing content be produced in this finite series format for OTT. I don't know if that answers your question. I love all of these ways of telling a story, but I've certainly have come to truly appreciate the fact that OTT brings something entirely new, different, and beautiful to not only viewers, but also actors, producers, writers, and directors.
Any projects in the pipeline?
Too many to mention. I've just completed my third project with Srijit Mukherjee. We shot, it's a series that we shot in Sikkim. I've just completed Golondaaj. That's me and Dave Adhikari. It's a beautiful football-based film for the West Bengal. Basically me and Dave coming head to head. It's beautiful to have another lead role in West Bengal after Yeti Obhijaan, which was my debut in West Bengal. I've got another Amazon series that up until now, Aarya was my favorite series I've done. This is now my favorite, and I can't disclose anything about it yet, but it is truly incredible. Very hard-hitting, very dark, but a comedy as well. So I'm very, very excited, and I'm hoping that releases soon, because I think people really are starving for good new content during this time, and it would be lovely if it was possible to get it to them. Rani, my second film with Tanisha Chatterjee, which is hopefully scheduled or will be scheduled for an OTT release soon. Dr. Rakhmabai, my first film with Tanisha Chatterjee. Hopefully that will also get an OTT release. So many films. Bhima Koregaon, we've started. That's me and Arjun Rampal. It's a very interesting Hindi-English feature film. I've had the distinct pleasure of working with some amazing teams across all industries, But I'm obviously very excited also about Chere, Boot Police, RRR, 3 projects which I did specifically to work with these teams that I hadn't worked with before. All 3 of them are cameos. But it was really wonderful to work with Alia Bhatt for the first time, with Rumi Jaffrey and Emran Hashmi and Crystal D'Souza. Some wonderful, wonderful projects that I'm sad to see that they're delayed, but at the same time, the excitement that they are completed, most of them, and that they will release soon, far outweighs that. And then obviously music. I'm preparing for my next song and music video, so hopefully that will be out soon as well.
So Alex, now we have our rapid fire round. Brace yourself. Okay.
Brace myself. Okay.
Texting or talking?
Texting, always.
Nickname your parents gave you?
Oh, nickname that my parents gave me. Oh, what did my mom used to call me? It's very embarrassing. I mean, Al. I think my mom called me Al a lot, short for Alexander, obviously. Yeah, Al.
Do you snore?
Do I snore? No.
How long does it take for you to get ready?
Depends on what the occasion. Usually, it's super quick. I'm very, very simple with regards to my wardrobe. It's generally jeans and a button-up.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping secrets?
Oh, that's a good question. Once again, it depends on the secret. So I would say 9. Sometimes you have to let someone know what the secret is because it's too important.
A place you'd like to visit?
Oh, there's so many places. I've never been to Venice. I would love to visit Venice.
One word for Sushmita Sen.
Elegant.
Favorite city in the US besides the one that you live in?
Well, I don't really live in the US anymore. Right now I'm in Amsterdam. In India, I live in Mumbai, obviously. My favorite city in the US outside of the one, well, I kind of grew up near New York, but New York and Boston are 2 of my favorite cities in the US.
What does a person need to be happy?
That's a really good question, and I don't have the answer. Did I fail your rapid fire?
You've answered enough. And the last one is fill in the blank. Bollywood is
changing.
So thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure speaking to you. You're a blessed soul. Hope to see you soon on the big screen.
I am blessed because of people like you, Arushi. I only have a career in film and music because people like yourself continue to support me, and I'm extremely grateful to everyone in India that's ever seen one of my films or series, or ever watched any one of my music videos, or streamed any one of my songs. Please do go, now that I'm thinking of it, to Alexx O'Nell Music on YouTube. I reply to every single comment anyone leaves there. That's actually my go-to place to interact with people that get to experience the 3 songs that are up there now. 2 of them have the beautiful and incredibly beautiful Shama Sikandar. So please do check that out. Let me know what you think in the comments. And once again, Arushi, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you. If you're watching this interview on Facebook, please like. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to Scoop Beats.